Hello, in this video I'm having a look at the foiled elements on this card and I need to make a butterfly to go on this one. No foiling on there yet. Okay, so these have been made using Couture Creations My Secret Love collection. So pattern papers, toppers, stamping and die cutting with the items from that collection. So on this one I've used one of these sort of elongated panel dies, and I've added a sentiment, and I've heat embossed the sentiment, stamped it and heat embossed it using some copper embossing powder, and the butterfly on this one is foiled in sort of a coppery colour shiny foil. Okay, so that's what I've done on this one. But when I did this, let me show you the die. Unlike some of the other cut, foil and emboss sort of frames, these aren't hollow in the middle. There's another one in the collection, slightly different design but similar kind of thing. They're not hollow in the middle, so you can't put your die on the foil and cut the middle bit out. So when I did this, I ended up with some overfoiling in the middle of this, and I did manage to clean it up. I actually ended up using a foam pad and just gently using the sticky on that to pull off the overfoiling. And as I say, I got there, but it was fiddly and it took a bit of time. So I thought there's got to be a better way than this. So, and I have found one. So what I've done, this is the foil I used when I foiled this one. So I've made this one. If I get the camera to focus on it, see there's no overfoiling. Yeah, and there wasn't any. I didn't remove any. Little bit on the edges that I just used a piece of tape to pull away, because this is a pearlescent card, so I can't use a rubber on it. And this is the piece of foil I used. So what I did was I actually took the foil off the transfer backing before I did the foiling. Okay, and you're probably thinking, well, that sounds fiddly, but actually I found a fairly quick and easy way to do it. So let me show you what I did. Actually, before I do that, no, I'll come back to it. I'll do things in a kind of, it might not be the most efficient use of time, but I'm going to keep them in order. So I'm going to use this foil. This is a Couture Creations foil, and this one is silver foil iridescent material pattern. It says the code number will be on my blog post, so you'll know which foil that is. I'm going to cut a piece of this, cut it a little bit bigger than I need. Put the roll back in the box. Okay, so I've got my piece of foil, and on the right side I'm going to take my die and I'm going to draw around it with an alcohol marker. I'm going to move it a bit. It's a new roll of foil, so I've got a bit of tape at one end. Okay. I'm going to keep that bit for another project. Let me cut another piece, because this was a new roll and that's got a piece of sellotape stuck to it. There we are. Right. So I'm going to put my die down, and make sure you're putting it on something clean and smooth. You might want to put a piece of paper underneath, perhaps. In fact, I'm going to put piece of card underneath, just so I make sure I don't contaminate it in any way with anything that might be on my crafting mat. I'm going to put my die on it. I'm going to put it at one end so I can trim it easily. And then I'm going to use an alcohol marker. Now it's, you know, a cheap alcohol marker, a Sharpie similar or cheaper, you know, just as long as it's a an alcohol based one so that it actually doesn't rub off the foil. Now I'm not actually putting this on the foil, I'm putting it on the backing sheet. I'm just drawing around my die. Okay. And I'm going to trim my foil quite close to that. So that I've got an... Okay, so I'm just trimming around my foil and I'm trimming quite close to my line. And that is so that I can tell where the ends and the middle are. I'm just going to take a little notch out of the middle there. And on the other side, so just so I know where that midpoint is. Now, if you've got a lighting panel and you work on that, then you'll probably be able to see your line that you've done from the other side of the foil. But now I need my foil that way up. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side a minute, because now what I need to do is find a way of removing the foil from the middle, like I did on here. Okay, so I've taken, I'll go with it now. I've just die cut one of these, and then I've used it to make myself a template. So I've just cut or trimmed, so I've got the oval that would fit in the middle, and it just so happens that one template fits both of these dies. Okay, so I've made myself a cardboard template, and then the first time I did it, I stuck some of my masking tape to the card and cut around it and then peeled it off. It didn't peel perfectly, but depending on what masking tape you're using, you may or may not have the same trouble. So I thought, well, what I really need is a piece of release paper to stick on my tape and then put with the card and cut around it. So what I've done is I've stuck my piece of card onto a piece of sticky roll or an A5 double-sided sticky sheet and left the backing on. So if I was to peel this, it would be sticky underneath. If I can get the backing up. And I can't get the backing up because it's all very close to the edge. But anyway, I've left the backing on, and I want the backing left on. And then all I've done is I've torn off a piece of tape and stuck it down along one edge, so I've only got one side to cut. And of course I can always reposition it if I need to. Trimmed around it, so I've got a piece of tape, same shape as my template. Now when I've used this die with plain card, I've only got a few spots of foil in the middle, and they came off with a rubber quite easily. So this is really a technique for when you're using things like pearlescent cards or foil cardstock, the sort of thing you can't use a rubber on. So I've done that, and then I can just peel my piece of tape off of there. Okay, so back to my foil. So I need to make sure I take this out pretty much dead centre, which is why I've put the notches and trimmed it fairly close. I'm going to take my piece of tape, and actually I could do one better. I'll put that back on there a moment. I could put this on my die and mark the middle with my marker pen. which would be even better because then I've got something to line up with. So put that in the middle, and I'm just going to do it by eye and put a line across there. Okay. This is me having ideas as I go. So peel that off, line my line up there, put my foil down, push it onto the foil, then I can peel it away, and the vast majority of the foil then comes off. And what doesn't probably won't transfer, and if it does, it'll be quite easy to remove. Okay, if you don't think it's filled properly, you can always repeat with another piece of tape, again making sure you get it in the middle. Again, there is a bit of a margin for error. So there, having done that twice, there's absolutely no foil left in that middle panel. So now I can go back to my piece of card. And it's a lovely pearlescent card. It's a sort of grey, bluey, greeny colour. I can put that down on there. I can put my die on top. And now I'm putting it in the same place I had it when I sort of trimmed it and marked the middle. Then I can get some tape, tape it down. Just going to trim that bottom piece of card off. There. Okay, now I've already got my Go Press and foil with my metal conversion plate on it. That's a really thick metal plate. Okay, so that just goes on there. Close the lid, and then you need to leave it to warm up. So the plate's hot, the metal plate's hot, but the cut and create die needs to heat up thoroughly so that the foil will transfer. So I'm going to leave that to warm up and get my butterfly ready. So my butterfly is much easier. So for my butterfly, I've decided to use this. It's a lovely kind of golden yellow pearlescent card. I've got a ding in the corner, so I'm just going to use that bottom corner section. I'm going to use the peach foil that's a matte finish. And this is kind of it's a translucent foil. Now on white card, it will come out the colour it looks. But with this yellow card underneath, it's going to be perhaps more of an orange colour. And actually, I think that will work really well with this card. And if you're wondering why I didn't cut this foil earlier, it's because you really easily lose track of which is the side that you need to have down. So it's got a shiny backing and it's dull on the other side. It's the dull side that needs to go down on my card. And you just need to try it. And it's very staticky. So, not sure if staticky is a word, but it's certainly one in my vocabulary. So, let's trim that. So I'm going to put my foil down. I'm just going to trim a bit off the corners. It just makes it easy to tape it down. Means I can use little pieces of tape rather than big ones. So this foil, unlike the metallic ones, actually goes shiny side up. They all go shiny. Yeah, they all go shiny side up. Sorry. Yeah, but you need to make sure it's that matte side that's against your card, rather than the sort of because you haven't got that metallic finish on it. Just take a piece of tape. Just like to hold things in place and trim my card. So while I've been doing that, my GoPress has been heating up. So I'm now ready to roll the other one through. So just bear with me a minute while I do that. Okay, so I've rolled that through. Let's get that foil out of the way. Just going to slide that off. And I can put my butterfly on. Oops, sorry, excuse my arm. You see what I mean about the static? Right, so my butterfly can go on. I think I'm going to put it that way. So that can be warming up while I see how this is done. I'm just going to use my pokey tool and just ease that out the back. Now the other thing I've discovered lately, sometimes with the cut foil emboss dies, or these cut and create dies as they're now being called, it's difficult to get the foil to peel. So if you just take a piece of your masking tape, stick it down and peel it at the edge, that comes away, and there we are. I'm really pleased with how that's come out. That's a really good result. It was worth the preparation to get that result. So that's that one. Don't forget to take your dies off your piece of card before you tidy up. I do know people who have lost dies and they're sure they threw them away with the scrap card. Over there. Right, so my butterfly should now be warmed up. So I'll just roll that through. Just whilst the camera's crooked. Right, so I have run that through. Again, here I have my butterfly. Now you can use your pick and lift to get these off, because it doesn't stick to a magnet. I don't know quite what it's made of, but it's obviously not the same type of metal as the dies. So let's see how this has turned out. I'll give it a shake, hopefully the die cut will come out. There we are. I've got a couple of little bits need popping out. It's got those out. I'm going to peel my floor. I'm going to use a piece of tape again. See that just... Oh, that's a pretty butterfly. So you might want to transfer the weight as well, because that's come out really beautifully. And there's my butterfly. Now to give these some shape, I usually use a pencil just to roll them around. So let me grab that. Okay, so I've just got a nice round pencil. I'll just kind of roll it across the middle. It just means I'm not in danger of creasing the foil in the middle. And then on the wings on the outside. You could do this in your fingers, but I find out if I'm not careful, I'm a bit heavy-handed. So I just use my hand and use the pencil to provide some support. at my card and see where I want to put this. I was a little bit undecided whether or not it needed a butterfly, whether or not I was going to be able to do one in the right colour scheme, but I think if I put that just on the bottom corner there, that will look just right. So let me put that in place. I'm going to need some kitchen paper. And it's entirely up to you what sort of glue you use, but I like this is like a mixed media product that's kind of a gel. It's, you know, for decoupage and anything with any dimension, and I just find it works really well for cardstocks that might otherwise be difficult. So I think I'm going to put that right on the edge of there. It's also great for sticking down onto something that's uneven. You can even sort of put a bit more of it one side than the other. Let's do that. Let's put some extra on that side. That's it. But it's not something you can use water to clean up, so that's why I always clean whatever I'm using as soon as I've used it. It's kind of a structure paste, gel paste, yeah, gel medium. Not quite sure what the technical term is, but it's more than a glue. There. So that's my finished card. Okay. So there we are. So there's an easy way of taking the foil out of the middle of a die, and I'm sure there's going to come sort of dies and cut foil dies that technique will be useful for in other ways as well. So thank you for watching.